Well, here we are again, January the 8th. Another Elvis birthday rolls around. This one would have been his 90th. 90. Imagine Elvis at 90. Do you even know anyone who's 90? Are you 90? If you are, thanks for watching. In my family, I think there have only been 3 people who made it to 90. And they were all on my paternal grandmother's side of the family. So I'm kind of hoping I've got their genes. I know I've got my grandmother's nose, so here's hoping. Anyway, Elvis once sang, "What's the good of reaching 90 if you waste 89? You've got one life, so live it. And if you don't, it's a crime." Well, no one could certainly accuse Elvis of not living his life from, well, certainly the last, 23 years of his life as a singer, from 54 to 77. I think he packed more into those years than many of us could in, well, 90 years of life. Now, as it happens, Elvis's 90th birthday also happens to be the 63rd anniversary of his 27th birthday. Now, why am I talking about Elvis's 27th birthday? Because that was in 1962, and that's where we've got to in my little series of collecting as much Elvis music as you can in as few releases as possible. So, what was Elvis actually doing on his birthday in 1962? Well, I looked it up using this book here, Elvis Day by Day. Have any of you got this book? By Peter Guralnick and Ernst Jorgensen. It's quite difficult to find this book for a cheap price, but it's well worth having. Now, according to this book, in 1962, on January the 8th, Elvis was eating cake. That cake, to be precise. That was a massive birthday cake that was given to him by that chap there in the glasses, Milton Prell, who was the owner of the casino at the Sahara in Las Vegas. I guess that was a hotel. And it says that he is a friend of Colonel Parker. Well, casino owner Parker, yeah, he would be a friend of Colonel Parker. I wonder how much of that cake Elvis actually ate. I bet Lamar got a nice thick slice of it. Anyway, so what we're going to do in this video then is look at the recording sessions Elvis had in 1962 and the music that came out of them, and where you can find as much of that music as possible. However, before we do that, I've got a little warning for everybody watching this video who uses eBay and collects Elvis records. It's been brought to my attention that this record here is up for sale on eBay for £100, which is, I don't know, $125, $130, something like that. What is this record? It's a Japanese copy of Your Cheating Heart and Memphis, Tennessee. Actually, it wasn't made in Japan, but it's a record that comes free with this book here. So you can get this record and the book for about the same price as some wise guy is selling it for on eBay. So yeah, if you go to the Elvis Shop London, if you're in the UK, you can get this book with the single. Don't go buying the single on its own. Is it you that's selling this? Well, if it is, good luck to you. But if you see this on eBay without the book, don't buy it. The book is still available. Not many copies left, but if you're still looking for one and you're in my part of the world, then contact me. And if you're in Europe, contact Dick Decker. Anyway, that's all I want to say about that. Don't go buying the single without the book. Now, let's go to the first recording sessions that Elvis made in 1962. So that was in March. Basically what he did in March 1962 was he finished up the Potluck album over a couple of nights. He recorded some of the songs which would go on to Potluck in 1961, and then over 2 nights in March 62 he did 6 songs on the first evening, plus the song You'll Be Gone, and then on the second night he did 2 more songs plus the single She's Not You and Just Tell Her Jim Said Hello. So Elvis, at the beginning of the year, he did She's Not You, Suspicion, and Just Tell Her Jim Said Hello in one night, in one session. And he ended the year by singing Roller Skate or Bike, Anywhere You Like, but Take Me to the Fair. That's kind of an ominous end to 1962. Now, if you like the Potluck music, you can find all of it on, as I said in my last video, the Potluck sessions. So we're not going to go any further with that particular session. We're going to move on to the second and third lots of sessions in 1962, and they were both for movie soundtrack albums. Now, another thing I'm going to do in this video, which I haven't done for a while, is show you some Japanese albums, which we'll come to in a moment. So, sticking with March 1962, Elvis started work on the soundtrack for Girls, Girls, Girls. Now, most of the music for Girls, Girls, Girls was done in 3 sessions at the end of March 1962. And then in May, for some reason, they went and did another song in May, which was We'll Be Together. Now, if you're interested in getting some outtakes of Girls, Girls, Girls material, there's really only one place you can go, and that's the FTD Classic Album 7-inch CD. There's just one CD on there. It's quite interesting if you look at the track listing there, because there are only a few songs where there are outtakes included. And I'll put a list on screen of the songs that are not included in the outtakes section. And if we look at what songs are on there, you've got all 9 takes of Mama. You've also got a version of the Amigos singing Mama. You've got an instrumental version of Mama. And you've got the Let's Be Friends album version of Mama. So if you like Mama, this is the CD for you. Now, as it happens, I quite like it. The Amigos version is really good because they sing a different harmony near the beginning of the song to the one that they use in the Elvis version. And the instrumental version is very short, but some really, really good Spanish guitar playing in there. And if you like A Boy Like Me, A Girl Like You, you can get all 4 takes on this CD here. And again, fortunately, I do like that song. However, there are not very many other outtakes on there, and some of them are just little pieces of takes which were cut to form the spliced master. So what that tells me is that a lot of the tapes for the Girls, Girls, Girls sessions are missing, because if they'd had the outtakes, they would have included at least one of them on this CD. Why would they not do that? Why would they put all 9 versions of Mama, but no outtakes of what Girls, 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 for instance? It doesn't make sense. So I don't think we're going to be seeing a Girls, Girls, Girls sessions CD anytime soon. So if you do have this, hang on to it, because I don't see any other releases forthcoming. Apparently there is an instrumental version of Plantation Rock, I think it is, on bootleg. So if you must have everything, then have a look out for that bootleg. If I find out the name of it, I'll put it on screen. Okay, let's have a quick look at some Japanese copies of Girls, Girls, Girls. These ones are all quite late pressings. I want to show you a couple of 1970 Victor pressings for one particular reason. This one here is the first one. This is from 1970. And the thing about Girls, Girls, Girls in Japan was, I think they spent a bit more money on the packaging because of the success of Blue Hawaii. So Blue Hawaii did very well. So what they did with Girls, Girls, Girls is they printed a lyric sheet, which is inside the cover there. And they used the back cover entirely for sleeve notes, and obviously the tracks as well. I've got another copy from 1970, a little bit later in 1970, but if you have a look at the colors, they're very different. See the one at the back there? That one's slightly later, 1970, but Elvis's jacket looks green, and his shirt as well. I don't know what's going on there. I've also got a couple of RCA copies. This one is the first RCA one from 1971, and you can see they retained the same cover design. It's one of those thin, fully laminated covers with the cutaways and foldovers at the top there. And the next copy that I've got is one that I got recently. Now this one was absolutely trashed, but I had to buy it, and I'll show you why in a minute. In fact, I need to show you something. When I saw that record for sale, I saw the picture and I saw that the cover was housed in this thing here. Can you see that? It's one of those old PVC, very hard, thick record covers from, well, they were very popular in the 70s, weren't they? Now the problem with these is they cause problems for your records because I don't know, it's called off-gassing, I think, or leaching, and the material somehow finds its way onto the record itself. And when I saw the picture of the record in a sleeve, I could tell that there was going to be a problem. And I'll show you what it looks like. It may actually play, but it doesn't look very nice. I've shown records like this before. There you go. Can you see that? So that was caused by the chemicals from that plastic cover finding their way onto the records, onto the two sides of the record. Anyway, the reason why I bought that is because this version of the album is in my book, but I've never actually had a copy myself. We were fortunate enough to know someone who had a copy, and they sent us some label scans. So this is the last pressing of Girls, Girls, Girls with its original catalogue number, SHP 5136. Cover's absolutely beautiful. And the reason why I bought it is because it's got a different maker to the first RCA one that we looked at. This is actually a 1973 pressing, and it comes in a really thick card cover. So you see there are no foldovers there now, no cutaways. So those are a few copies of Girls, Girls, Girls that I have from Japan. Right, so to finish off then, we're going to be looking at the last two recording sessions Elvis had in 1962, in August and September 1962. They were for the It Happened at the World's Fair soundtrack. There were just a couple of songs done on the first day. Most of the songs were completed on the second day. Now, as well as the album, there are a few places you can go to for outtakes. The most obvious one is, once again, the FTD Classic album. This is just a single CD, again with the regular album, the first 10 tracks, and then you've got lots and lots of outtakes. I think most of the outtakes on here are complete takes. You've got some false starts, but I think these FTD releases focus on the completed takes to make it a more enjoyable listen. Some of them have been released before on one or two compilations. There are some bootlegs where you can find even more material. One of them is called Girl Happy at the World's Fair, and there's another one called A Legendary Performer Volume 8. So if you want even more copies, even more outtakes from the World's Fair, then get hold of those bootlegs too. Now, there's still quite a bit of unreleased material from the World's Fair sessions, especially on day one. As I say, he only recorded a couple of songs there, but much of the material on bootleg is from the second day in September. So I think at some point in the future we're definitely going to get an FTD sessions box set from those sessions. Right, should we have a look at a couple of Japanese albums to finish up with then? Here's an original copy of World's Fair. You can see it's still got its obi on there. Very often when you find this album, Japanese album, you'll find that it's got a little hole cut in the cover, like a little punch hole. And that indicates a record that was returned by the retailer to either the distributor or the manufacturer. So records were supplied on, what's the phrase in English now? Sale or return. So yeah, if a record didn't sell, the retailer was allowed to simply return it to wherever they got it from, either directly from the manufacturer or through a wholesaler in the middle. And then a hole would be punched into the cover, and then the record would be sold on to another dealer at a cheap price. But the hole meant that the record couldn't then be returned for a full refund. It's quite complicated, but the reason why I'm saying this is because you often find this album with a punch hole in the cover, and I think it's because they probably made too many of them, because Girls, Girls, Girls was quite successful. Not as successful as Blue Hawaii, but still pretty successful. It's quite easy to find the stereo copy of that album on the used market. But with this one, I think they probably made too many copies, and that's why you find a lot of them with the punch hole there. And I guess the reason for that might be because of the location. I mean, you know, the Seattle World's Fair wouldn't have really meant very much to Japanese people in 1962 or 63. I guess most Japanese people didn't even know where Seattle, Washington was. And in fact, the next album, which was Fun in Acapulco, the next soundtrack anyway, that did much better, I'd say, as well as Girls, Girls, Girls. So that's the original one with the obi there, and you can see they've gone back to the standard Japanese cover design with the sleeve notes at the top and the lyrics at the bottom. And I've got another copy here. This one's actually much rarer, but it wouldn't sell for as much as the Victor one. This one's on RCA. Very bright colors there. In fact, let's compare those two. You can see that the colors are much more very saturated on the later one. That's the one at the back there. If you look really closely, I'm not sure if this is going to show up, but in the top corner here, you can see where they've attempted to cover up the original Victor logo. You can certainly see it in person if you're holding it, but maybe it's not showing up. So yeah, it's very difficult to find this one on the RCA label because it wasn't really a popular title over the years. All right, I think that'll do it for this video. Yeah, 62. What do you think of the music Elvis made in 1962? Let me know in the comments section below. Enjoy yourself listening to Elvis's music, and I'll see you when I do 1963. See you next time then. Cheers.